What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, live for week number 12, aka Thanksgiving week in the NFL and Thanksgiving week in America. So for those of you in the United States, in the US that do watch me, subscribe to me, watch this video each and every week, happy Thanksgiving, because you're probably watching this on Thanksgiving or before you eat your turkey, whatever it may be. Hopefully you have an awesome Thanksgiving, because 2020 has been kind of a rough year for a lot of us, and it's good to, whether you're with family or you're not, to just have a moment and have a good moment, hopefully. And hopefully we can have some good football on Thanksgiving as well in 2020. Although the slate, I will say, the slate for tomorrow or for Thanksgiving does not look the best, okay? I will say that. It doesn't look the best it's ever looked, but hey, maybe we get some great football. Just please pray that we get good football on Thanksgiving. I'm going to go through each and every game. We have a lot of games this week in comparison to recent weeks. I think there's a full slate this week. I don't think a single team has a bye, if I'm not mistaken. I think there's 16 games this week, which is a loaded card. We have some really good games, including the Chiefs and the Buccaneers. We have some divisional showdowns that was supposed to be on Thanksgiving, the Ravens and the Steelers. So we have a lot of good football this week ahead of us and a lot to look forward to. Before I do get into my picks and my previews for every game in the NFL for week number 12, make sure you do spike that like button and subscribe to the Bottom Line View for more NFL videos and weekly NFL picks. Also, comment your picks in the comment section below, whether you're here live with me right now or you're watching this after the fact on Thanksgiving or maybe on Friday. Let me know your big pick or your question. What question do you have about this week? What question do you have about week 12? Let me know in the comment section below. Just get in there, get active, introduce your opinion to the BLV community. All right. So, let's take a look. Week number 12. It's here, baby. Guys, make sure you do spike that like button. Let's start with the Thanksgiving football. All right, and actually, before we do, I do need to update my record so far this season. So let's take a look at how I'm doing this year. So my record this year is 111 and 46 straight up. Pretty good, if you ask me. I have been doing really good straight up this year. I believe I had an 8-6 week this past week. 8-6 sounds about right. So I went 8-6 straight up and also versus the spread. But it's funny because it didn't actually end up being that I picked the same game straight up that I picked versus the spread and I got both right or wrong. It was actually like a weird mix this week of where the games that I got wrong, some of them I got right on the spread, and some of them that I picked straight up, I didn't get right on the spread. So yeah, it was a weird week in week number 11 for my record, but it ended up being the same. In terms of best bets, I did not do my best bets last week. That's why it's the same. I just didn't have time, to be honest with you. But I'm hopeful that for the channel that I'm going to be doing some more best bets actually on the channel. So I'm going to give you like 5 best bets probably down the stretch here. Maybe we can start this week. We'll see, maybe next week, because then that's officially when I have semester break. So probably next week, I'm going to just see how you guys like it. And I'm going to go every Friday and give you like my 5 best picks of the week, my best bets. And then for Patreon, I'm going to have a more betting specific show for Patreon instead of doing the best bets. So that's the way I think I'm going to change it up on the channel for you guys, because that is a good show that I feel like a lot of people should be watching. but I want to offer kind of a deeper value to the Patreon members. And guys, remember that for Patreon, this is the first week that you can get an exclusive Sunday preview. So right before the games start at 10 on the West Coast, 1 on the East Coast, maybe noon, depending on where you're at. 30 minutes before the games begin on Sunday, on Patreon for Patreon exclusives, I will be live. So if you have like certain fantasy questions, or you have betting questions, or you have pick questions, or just general football questions, or you want to join an entertaining show with other people watching and join the chat, then that is where you want to be on Sundays. So make sure, check out the Bottom Line View Patreon if you want to support me, the channel, and you want to get exclusive content. Link is in the description. All right, so let's start with the Thanksgiving football. I'm actually not sure which way I put the graphics on my thing, so I might actually pick the wrong one. Hopefully I picked the right one. Let's see. All right, we're good. Houston Texans at the Detroit Lions. That is, I guess, the game of Thanksgiving. I don't think so. I guess it's Washington, Dallas. Either way, though, I mean, I think this is probably the higher ceiling game, right? Using fantasy terms. This is the higher ceiling game, and the other game is the high floor game, I think. When you look at this matchup, you have Deshaun Watson at Matthew Stafford. You have Matthew Stafford versus Deshaun Watson. So it's two of the more exciting quarterbacks in the league for me to watch personally, that I enjoy watching each and every week. But the Lions are absolutely dreadful. The Texans are a team that shouldn't be as bad as they are, but they are. And because of that, they aren't in the playoff conversation. So both of these teams are kind of not in the playoff conversation at all. Maybe the Lions, I guess, are still somewhat in it, but like because of the NFC. But I don't think you can say that either. So the Texans are favored by 3 on the road in Detroit. Detroit has a multitude of injuries. They have Kenny Golladay, hurt. Danny Amendola, hurt. DeAndre Swift, hurt. Matthew Stafford himself is hurt. The defense is banged up. Hawkinson is banged up. But the one lone reason to not pick the Lions in this game, there's actually 2 reasons. Matt Patricia, this guy, again, fan of the person, I think he's a good guy. But as a football coach in 2020, he has not served the Lions well, and he is the reason they are where they are, to be quite honest with you. Second reason is Deshaun freaking Watson is incredible, guys. I came on the bottom line and I said, this guy is the real MVP. If you're talking about one player that is more valuable than any other to any team, it might be Deshaun Watson. And in this game, it is going to be the Deshaun Watson game. That's what it's going to be. Okay, Deshaun Watson literally did not make a mistake versus the New England Patriots. Did not make one bad pass, did not throw one turnover-worthy throw, did not fumble, did not take a bad sack, did not throw the ball to the wrong person at any time. He was flawless versus New England, like legitimately. This week, I think the storyline we are going to get after this game and after Thanksgiving is not the Cowboys or Washington winning that game later. It's going to be Deshaun Watson is an absolute baller. Either way that the Texans, they're not going to make the playoffs, but coming out of this game and coming out of Thanksgiving, people are going to be talking about Deshaun Watson. That's what they're going to be talking about. Because Deshaun Watson is going to have 350 yards, and he's going to have 4 touchdowns. I'm just going to throw that out into the universe. We'll see if it happens or not, but that's what I think is going to happen. The Detroit Lions, Matthew Stafford, if he's on his game, can make this one close and competitive, but considering the staff around him, the players around him, and the coaching, it's dreadful. I have to go with the Texans here. They are the better team playing the better football at the moment. I think their defenses are equally terrible. The Texans are worse versus the run, I think. I mean, they're both bad versus the run. Versus the pass, I would say the Lions are a little better. But because the Lions have less weapons to work with, it kind of evens things out. I don't think Swift's going to be playing in this game. I'm not sure. Maybe we have an Adrian Peterson moment here or there. I don't know. Who knows, bro? But I'm just excited. I'm just hope for a good game. I just hope for a good game. So I'm going to go with the Texans. Hopefully it's exciting. Hopefully Stafford can keep this close. I'm not sure he can, though. I'm going to say 31-24 Texans. The Texans win and the Texans cover. And Watson has 4 touchdowns and 300-plus yards. Okay? Let's do it. All right. The next game is the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Football Club. Okay? I'm not even going to call them a team. The club. Because they're a bunch of players that have joined a club. Washington. They are +3. Now, this game's interesting. I could see this game going either way. Obviously, this is actually, I know it's hard, it's weird to say this, but this is a big game. Like, this is a big game in the NFC East. It is. I know it sounds stupid. It sounds ridiculous, but I'm not joking. This is a big game. Like, whoever wins this game, it's a big deal. Let's just put it that way. Like, they're only one game behind the Eagles, and the Eagles play the Seahawks this week. So whoever wins this game is legitimately in a position where they could win the division, right? The Giants look to be the best team in the division from like a week-to-week basis. They're the most consistent. Dallas has the most talent, maybe, on offense at least. The Eagles seem to have the most all-around talent, but their quarterback is just losing them games consistently. And Washington doesn't have an offense. So there's a lot of things and variables. Now, when looking at this matchup, Dallas has dominated this matchup and this rivalry over the last few years. But this is not Dak Prescott. This is Andy Dalton, so that throws something in there. Alex Smith, Andy Dalton, I mean, that's about even at quarterback. Alex Smith hasn't been playing bad. He's been managing the game. He's playing like Alex Smith. He's not making a lot of bad decisions, and he's playing through his defense and his running backs, which, by the way, Gibson, McKissick, that's one of the more underrated duos in the league right now, especially Gibson, who's a baller. And then we have Terry McLaurin, who I said is a top 10 receiver, and I believe he is. And really, the defense is predicated on pass rush. The Cowboys made a decision to move Zach Martin to right tackle, which has helped them protect Andy Dalton, which is the primary thing that they needed to do to help their offense move the football. If Andy Dalton is able to make quick, decisive decisions and get the ball into the hands of CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper, he can move the ball versus this defense. But if Washington does enough to confuse Dalton, to take him off his first read, to do enough in coverage, to force pressure on him, that's where Washington could win and run away with the game. So, when I look at it, I think Washington is going to have their moments on offense. McLaurin really can't be covered by anybody on the Cowboys. Gibson, I think, is going to be a mismatch for them. So I think Washington can move the ball, but Dallas's defense has been stingier as of late. So it's really, really tough. I honestly don't know who's going to win this game. I would treat this game as a non-bet game. I would just sit back and watch it. I don't think either team is good enough or trustworthy enough to take here. If anything, I would take the upset. I would take Washington. But due to the lineage of the rivalry, it should be exciting and it should be fun to watch. And because it actually means something. So they're going to be fighting for it. I am going to go with the Cowboys. And I'm not going to really sweeten it up. I'm just going to say, when it's Thanksgiving, this is the big game. This is the late game because the Steelers and Ravens game isn't there. I'm going to be cheering for the Cowboys. Okay? My dad's a Cowboys fan. I'm going to be watching this game at home, and I'm going to be cheering for the Cowboys. I hope they win. Can Washington win? Yes, but because I really don't know who is going to win, because I see either way could happen, I'm just going to take Dallas because I want them to win. I know that's not the analysis you want to hear, but I'm just going to be honest with you. So I'm going to go with Andy Dalton, CeeDee Lamb, and Amari Cooper. And if you follow my advice from the bottom line, which is defense doesn't exist, then you would follow that, okay, Dallas has the better offense. In 2020, they're more likely to win. Therefore, they should. So I'll take Dallas to win. And I don't know if I guess I'll take them to cover, but I don't know, man. Maybe I'll take Washington. This one could go either way. So we'll see on that. I'll say Washington right now. I'll take the +3, but I'm going to take Dallas to win. That's maybe threading the needle a little bit too much. But this game legitimately could come down to 1, 2, 3 points. So let's go with that. All right, the Las Vegas Raiders at the Atlanta Falcons. The Raiders are favored by 3 points in this game. Atlanta is at home. Matt Ryan was absolutely belittled last week. He was absolutely demolished. And the classic case of quarterback syndrome is the case of Matt Ryan. Although Matt Ryan doesn't have a large case. I mean, there's a bigger case in Detroit. There's a lot of people infected there. There's a lot of people infected in New England. Some in Tampa Bay, but in Atlanta, there's a little bit. I think it's making its way into Atlanta. We'll have to see how that affects the offseason. The Raiders just came off a very impressive loss, if there is such a thing. Derek Carr played one of the best games I've ever seen him play in my life. I mean, the guy was just balling. Like, he did not make any bad mistakes until the last throw of the game, which was kind of forced. He was making plays outside the pocket, inside the pocket, on the move, running, passing. I mean, everything was really good for Derek Carr. Decision-making, it's all there. And as I've said many times, I never questioned Derek Carr's ability. I always questioned Derek Carr's willingness. And I think right now, Derek Carr is one of those quarterbacks that we see every given year that has kind of found a rhythm. And he's a quarterback that is one of the 16 best. But from any given year, he can float from, number 20 to number 10. He's never going to be like a top 5 guy, although his statistics would suggest he might be near that conversation. But right now, he's playing like his way into the top 10. So he's like that rhythm quarterback. As we saw with him in 2016, he does have that elite ceiling. With Matt Ryan, a lot has been kind of bad around him, and the offensive line has not protected him very well, especially last week. Luckily, this week, he faces a Raiders defense that really can't rush the passer, so he's going to have plenty of time to make decisions and find Julio, as long as Julio can stay on the field. Calvin Ridley. This offense should be able to move the ball. I expect the Raiders to move the ball, but I will say Atlanta is pretty good versus the run. So Josh Jacobs, is probably not going to have the best game. So I expect this to be on Derek Carr and his arm to be able to move the ball, using Darren Waller, using his receivers, Nelson Aguilar down the field, Hunter Renfrow underneath. I think there's a real chance of an upset from Atlanta here. I do, because I think this is not the greatest matchup for the Raiders, because Atlanta can throw the ball. They have a veteran quarterback. It's on the road. They're coming off a game where they just lost in kind of heartbreaking fashion, but they're kind of feeling themselves, the Raiders, because they played a really good game versus a really good team, and they feel they can easily handle Atlanta. It's kind of a letdown spot in a way. For Atlanta, they're coming off a really tough loss to Taysom Hill. It didn't look pretty, but they're not that bad. They've been playing pretty well for most of the season. They've just come up short. So I could see an upset here, but because I like the way Derek Carr is playing and because I believe that he can make the throws to win the game, I will take the Raiders. This is one of those games, like I said, with the Vikings and the Cowboys, that if I get it wrong, I'm going to regret not taking the upset. But I have to stick with the Raiders because of how well they've been playing. So I don't want to fade a team that's been playing better football. But I definitely do think this game's going to be down to the wire and very close and competitive. So that's my pick there. I'll take the Raiders both ways. Let's check out my super chat that we got here from Stu. Stu, add him to the broadcast. $2.99. Shiba dog raising an arm to greet someone, asking how's it going. What? What was that? That was one of the most random. I was expecting like a football question. Thank you for the $2.99. I appreciate it. All right, next game. I wonder what Ultra has for the Atlanta pick this week. All right. Next, we have the LA Chargers at the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are -5.5 in this game. This is a west to east coast trip for the LA Chargers. The Bills are coming off of a bye week, I believe. This is kind of like Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, fun game, I think, but I don't see the Bills losing it. Like, could I see it being close? Yes. But at the end of the day, I don't see the Chargers winning this game. The Bills coming off of a bye, that should help them sort out their defense. The Chargers could make it close if their offense can really move that ball, but their defense has been really bad. Really underrated bad. I think the Bills win this game. I'm going to say the Bills also cover. I think people underestimate how good the Bills' offense is. Like, they score 30 points consistently, like every week almost. I think there's only been a couple times they haven't scored 30 points this year. They will do that in this game. I question whether the Chargers will. You know, McDermott versus a rookie quarterback, no matter the personnel, that's always a tough matchup. I do think Herbert has another good game, continues his Rookie of the Year candidacy well, but I just think Allen's playing too well. Stephon Diggs is playing too well. Cole Beasley has been great this year. This offense is just moving the ball through the air consistently and putting up big numbers. The defense should get a little bit better. I've been saying this for a while, but I do fully expect them to be a decent enough unit. Again, defense doesn't exist, but they can be better down the stretch. I think they will be. I think they are better than the Chargers defense. So I'll take the Bills to win. They're at home. It's a cross-country trip. So I'll take the Bills to win. I'll take the Bills to cover. This feels like a game where the Bills jump out to a lead and then the Chargers kind of make it close at the end. That's kind of like the way I'm feeling this game is going to go. All right. Next, we have the New York G-Men at the Cincinnati Bengals. Ryan Finley is going to get the start in place of injured first overall pick Joe Burrow. The Giants, like I said, are playing the most consistent football in the NFC East. They may not be the best team, they may be the best team, but they're playing the most consistent football, and that's due to tough physical football, and that's through good coaching, and that's through having the best quarterback in the division without Dak Prescott being there. Yes, I said it, and it's obvious. Daniel Jones versus Ryan Finley. Both defenses are not great, but the Giants' defense has been solid, and they're competitive. They're also creative, which is the thing that I think is going to hurt Finley here as being a guy that's only played 5 or 6 games. He's not very good. And the Giants are really good at mixing up coverages, mixing up blitzes, and showing and coming and dropping and going and doing different things to make it confusing on a quarterback. So that's not good. Then you couple that with the Bengals not being able to run the ball because the Giants are just going to manhandle them up front. The Giants are really solid versus the run because they have big dudes. I mean, Lawrence, Williams, and who's the other guy Tomlinson, those guys are big. They take up a lot of space. They can bully you up front, and the Bengals are not going to be able to run the ball. So they're not going to save their young quarterback with running the football with a bad offensive line. Then you look at the other side. The Bengals defense is just fine. I mean, they got rid of Dunlap. That kind of looks dumb because Dunlap's been awesome for the Seahawks. Their secondary is beat up, kind of. I want to give a shout out to Jesse Bates, who's an awesome player. But other than that, and William Jackson, like, they got nothing. And the linebacker position was already weak to start with. I think the Giants win this game pretty easily. I don't think, it's tough to rely on a team that's not very good to win by 6. So that's difficult. But when Joe Burrow's not in this game, you kind of got to take the Giants to cover. Because I just don't know what to expect with a Finley-led Bengals team, even though it is in Cincinnati. But we've seen this year that home field doesn't mean a lot unless there's weather involved. So I'll take the Giants to win this game. They know they need to win this game, obviously, to try to win that division. But they see the opportunity in front of them, right? Washington, Dallas are playing this week on Thanksgiving. They'll sit back, watch that game on Thursday. And then on Monday night, they can watch the Eagles play. And they can see if they lose to Seattle. But I think the Giants take that upper step into first place into the NFC East with a win on Sunday over the Bengals. And I think Daniel Jones has one of his best games of the year. The big thing with Daniel Jones recently has been he has not turned the ball over, which is really, really good. So the Giants win. The Giants win like 24-13. Something like that. All right. Next, we have the Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts. So we just saw the Tennessee Titans beat the Baltimore Ravens. We just saw the Colts beat the Packers. So both teams are playing really good football going into this game, about as good as they can play. They beat two teams that are solid and two teams that honestly should have beat them last week. I mean, the Titans should have lost to the Ravens. And the Packers should have beat the Colts. But the Colts were able to come back. The Titans were able to come back. And both teams ultimately won the game. So you got to credit them. But at the same time, they look to be in the losing side like about halfway, 3/4 through the game. And then they made the comeback. So with both teams, the Colts won the first matchup. It was on Thursday night. It was a couple of weeks ago. It kind of got out of hand. It was a definitive win by the Colts. I don't really know if I see the Colts sweeping the Titans, and I think that's why I'm leaning towards taking the Titans here, because I just can't see that happening. DeForest Buckner is injured or has COVID or something. I saw a report. The Colts defense is good, but I think they showed some of their flaws or some of the areas of weakness that you could take advantage of if you are a good passer, a good quarterback. The problem is, okay, so two things. How is Buckner going to affect the run defense of the Colts? How is he going to affect the pass rush, the disruptance, is that the word? Of the Colts and the Titans offense? How is Derrick Henry going to be handled without Buckner there? How is that going to change this game, really? And that's a big factor. I don't think the Colts have been without their best defensive player all year. And then you look at Tannehill, didn't play well versus the Colts the first time. Can he pass the ball versus this defense? I don't really know. Maybe the Colts got a little fortunate in that first game. And the Titans defense, they're still not great. We've seen them get run over. Phillip Rivers is playing pretty good football, and actually his best football of the season the last couple of weeks. Played really well versus the Packers. So this should be a really good game. I really don't know definitively who's going to win. This is another one where I really don't know. I'm kind of guessing. But I just have a feeling that the Titans will not get swept versus the Colts. So because of that feeling, because of Buckner potentially being out, I I do want to lean towards the Titans. And the Titans, they frustrate me because they show a lot of good things consistently, but then you see that they're not truly like elite, but they can beat kind of anybody. It's a weird team in the Titans. And the Colts are a team that I feel very good, but they kind of have a ceiling. So these two teams are almost on the same level, and that's what makes it so difficult. And they're rivals. They both have great coaching staffs. They don't really have an advantage on that facet. Quarterbacks, I would say Tannehill's better than Rivers, but Rivers is playing well. Defenses, definitely the Colts is better, but the Titans have more explosive offense. So, yeah, I'm just going to go with the Titans. I just can't see the sweep. So, I'm going to go with the Titans. I will take the 3.5 points in this game. Maybe Rivers has a bad game here. He's probably due for one. It's been a few weeks, and we know Rivers is super inconsistent. So, I don't know if I can take Rivers in this spot, but we'll see. It's in a dome, so like weather's not going to be a factor. We'll see how the Colts are prepared in this game for Derrick Henry, because the Titans want to run it 100 times without DeForest Buckner. But that game should be really, really good, really, really interesting. Let me know who you guys think is going to win, but I'm going to go with the Titans. The next game is the Cleveland Browns at the Jacksonville Jags. Jacksonville sucks. Cleveland is the best bad team I've seen in a long time. They really have been fortunate due to the fact that they've played in like 3 or 4 weather games in a row, and it kind of has played exactly how they wanted to play, right? They faced Deshaun Watson in a bad weather game. That took Watson's ability to make plays out of it. The Eagles, they played in a weather game, even though they're better than the Eagles, I will say that. They played the Raiders in a weather game. So a lot of these games, they've been a little fortunate in my opinion. I don't think their defense is quite as good as the box score would suggest in some of these games due to the weather. Their offense is very run predicated, but they do play the Jacksonville Jags, who aren't good versus the run or really the pass either. This should be an easy win for the Browns. I mean, they're a good bad team, but they're also better than the Jags, definitively. So I will say the Cleveland Browns will win, probably like 30-13, something like that. I think Nick Chubb breaks a long touchdown in this game. He nearly broke another one last week. He should have had one the week before that, but stepped out of bounds. Cleveland is Cleveland. You know what they are. They are a good running football team. They love play action. Baker's not very good. Offensive line strong. Defense has a good defensive line. Denzel Ward and not much else. They have a decent coaching staff. Jacksonville is just Jacksonville. I mean, yeah, Robinson's been a cool story, I guess, but they got a long way to go. So I'll take the Cleveland Browns to win. I'll also take the Cleveland Browns to cover, although that does scare me because taking the Cleveland Browns to cover is always scary. So, next, the Carolina Panthers at the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are -4 in this game. This is in Minnesota. Minnesota lost to the Dallas Cowboys last week. I don't know if Teddy's playing in this game or not. Does anyone actually know? I would guess that he would be, but I'm not 100% sure. Carolina played really well versus Detroit, even with their backup quarterback. Even with that question, I mean, XFLer playing quarterback? Are you kidding me? And they won 20-0 and shut out the Lions? That's impressive. Their coaches have done an excellent job this year. They're not the most talented team, but they seem to be at least in every game they play for the most part. And they come with a good game plan every week. So I am intrigued to see how they attack the Zimmer defensive scheme with Joe Brady on offense. Hopefully Bridgewater is there because that would make it a Bridgewater versus Vikings game. I expect this game to be close. I also expect this game to be high scoring. I think both teams will be able to score into the 20s, into the maybe high 20s, low 30s. The thing with the Vikings is the games look higher scoring than the score would suggest because they run the ball so much. And that's where it scares me for the Panthers. The Panthers cannot stop the run very well. They did it versus the Lions, but the Lions can't run versus me, Durcan, and Ultra on the defensive line for 3 yards a carry. So the Panthers will make this close due to their offense, but the reason they will lose is because Dalvin Cook and because of the Vikings run game. Now, Adam Thielen could be out of this game with COVID, which is a big loss, but Justin Jefferson should be able to step up and make something happen. Cousins should have a good game. I'm going to say the Vikings win. I will take the 4 points, though, with Teddy Bridgewater, assuming he plays. If Teddy does not play, I will not take the 4 points. If he does play, I will take the 4 points because I think Carolina can win this game, but I do think they can make it close enough to take the 4, and it could be down to a field goal. We've seen Carolina play a lot of teams very close, and it's wise to take them with the points this year. So I will take Carolina with the points, but the Vikings should be able to win this game through what they want to do, which is run the ball. Next, the Arizona Cardinals at the New England Patriots. Patriots are underdogs by 2 points. Kyler Murray going to New England in Foxborough. Not sure what the weather is, but that will be a big determining factor how this game plays out for sure. In New England, Cam Newton's playing really well. As I said, the last few weeks, especially since coming back from COVID, since getting benched for San Francisco for the most part, he's been really, really good. Kyler Murray, of course, has been MVP candidate. The Patriots defense currently ranks last in DVOA. Cardinals defense isn't much better because defense doesn't exist, but it's still better than New England's. They have some playmakers, Budda Baker, Patrick Peterson in moments. Their pass rush has struggled, though, which is going to be interesting to see versus a really good Patriots offensive line. But what we have seen is the Cardinals can mix it up with a pretty good defensive scheme, blitz, and get some pressure in that way. I am really interested to see how Belichick plays Kyler Murray. Not necessarily if it works or not, but Belichick always comes up with certain game plans and schemes that can help other teams down the road stop the Cardinals. So that's something that you have to keep an eye on and think about in this game when you're watching it. Also, the Lions did beat the Cardinals, which Matt Patricia, of course, is a Patriot disciple, and as bad as he has been, he actually had a good game plan versus Kyler early in the season. So that could help Bill start his game plan off just from the base level. I think this game's kind of high scoring. I think the Patriots will score at least 24, maybe like close to 30. I think they'll run the ball effectively. And if they can, that will help them beat Kyler because it will keep them off the field. But I also expect the Cardinals to move the ball and score because Kyler is special. He can move around. He can make plays. He can extend the play versus a bad pass rush. Who only got 2 pressures on a similar quarterback in Deshaun Watson. So I think this game's going to be like 30-27 for the Cardinals. I'm going to take the Cardinals because I just can't trust New England in a close game right now or in a game where they're like with their defense. I mean, the defense has been so bad, I just can't trust it. I just can't. Kyler, the Cardinals, they have confidence. They have swagger. They should be able to come in here with the long week to prepare and win. But I do expect New England to keep it close because they do have Cam, they do have Belichick, and by the way, I want to give credit to Damiere Byrd, Jacoby Myers, who've been stepping it up and playing well, Damian Harris playing well. But I just don't think New England's defense is going to come to play. They haven't for the most part of the year, and their passing game is, at a certain point, the Patriots can't go toe-to-toe with DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray. At a certain point, Cam can only take them so far with Gunnar Olszewski. So I'll say the Patriots lose. I wouldn't be shocked if they pulled up the upset, but because they've been competitive in every game, basically. But they probably shouldn't versus a playoff team. So Cardinals win. But that's the thing with New England has been they have played to their competition's level every week. So whether it's been the Broncos or the Seahawks or the Ravens or the Chiefs, they've played to the level of their competition. So look forward to that game. That game's probably the most underrated game of the week. I don't think a lot of people are going to be paying attention to it because New England hasn't been good this year, but a lot of their games have been down to the wire and entertaining, and you'll probably learn something from watching Kyler versus Belichick. So check that one out. Next, we have the Miami Dolphins at the New York Jets. The Jets are they at home for this game? I thought the game was in Miami. I'm going to double check that, but that actually does change things. I know the Jets are terrible, but if they are going to be able to win a game this year, it might be this game. I know I'm being crazy here, but the Jets have played better as of late. Have they not? Have they not? I mean, the Jets, Joe Flacco hasn't played that bad, really. And getting Denzel Mims and Perryman has really helped their downfield offense, their offense in general, do some things. So I don't think this is a walkover game for Miami at all. I don't think so. Miami did dominate the first game of this matchup, so you have to keep that in mind. But, hey, Adam Gase, revenge game. You never know, bro. You never know. Adam Gase, revenge game. If they were going to win any game, it's this game. All the effort is in this game. All of it. 100%. 100% of the effort for the Jets will be in this game. Tua looked bad last week. The Dolphins' offensive line looked bad last week. Their offense in general has struggled a lot of the year, but their defense and their special teams has enabled them to win a lot of games this year. I'm going to take Miami to win, but I will take the 7 points because I think this is an AFC East game. It's on the road for Miami on the terrible MetLife turf. And I don't know, man. The Jets kind of been playing better. I don't think this is a blowout by any stretch. I think this is a competitive game that goes down the wire. That's a scare for Miami, but I think the Jets will end up choking it, and the Dolphins will end up taking it and winning. So that's my thoughts on the game. I actually think it's going to be kind of fun, but I don't know. Hopefully it is. Hopefully it's not a blowout. If it's a blowout, it's probably Miami blowing them out, but I don't think so. I think it's actually going to be a decent game. If there is a game that the Jets can win, it's this game, I think. Next, the Saints at the Broncos. Saints are -6. They head to Denver with Taysom Hill. Now, the thing that's interesting about this game, we've seen a couple times this year that Denver's front has been able to dominate opposing offensive lines. That's kind of how they've won their games this year. They did that versus Miami. They did that versus New England. They did that versus a few teams. Good and bad offensive lines. They've done it versus mostly bad offensive lines. New England's was, I think they were missing 3 starters. So when thinking about that, New Orleans has a really good offensive line. That shouldn't happen as much. Now, with Taysom Hill, you have a very high possibility of outcomes like all over the map. I mean, Taysom could play incredible. He could play like crap. So the Broncos could win the game. It's in Mile High. Weird things happen in Denver. You never know. But going off what I've seen, the Saints defense has been really good as of late. And as long as they can keep that consistency, they should win this game. Because Drew Lock has been bad, and the Broncos offense has been extremely inconsistent. So because of that, maybe the Broncos hang around for a little bit, first half. Fangio is going to have a game plan for Taysom that I'm really intrigued to see, and how Sean Payton adds layers to what he's already done. So that's going to be really cool to see as well. So this is a great coaching matchup to watch. But I think the Saints are the better team. I like the way their defense is playing, and I have confidence enough in Taysom Hill, Alvin Kamara, and my man Michael Thomas to win this game. But am I going to take the cover? That's a tough one. I'm going to take the cover just because You know what? I don't know. I'm going to take the cover. Reason I'm going to take the cover, oh man, actually, I don't know. This is the second time I've done this. I just don't think the Broncos can score enough points. That's my issue. So I'm going to go 20 to 10. So I'll take the cover. I'll take Saints 20 to 10 over the Broncos. Broncos defense keeps this competitive, but Broncos offense has been crap. So I'll take the Saints. Next, the San Francisco 49ers at the Los Angeles Rams. LA Rams, baby. Rams are favored by 7, coming off a Monday Night Football win. I get it. Nick Mullins is the 49er quarterback. But. It's Kyle Shanahan coming off of a bye. And the Niners beat the Rams the first time, did they not? I think they did. So, I don't know. This could be a good game. I mean, all of these games seem to be good. All of them do. I mean, every year with McVay and Shanahan, these games come down to the wire. It's like a mutual respect or like one-upmanship that I feel happens each and every time they play. So, I'm going to take the Rams. But again, I don't know. Kyle's a wizard, but like McVay is too. I think this game's close. I think Debo is back. So that's a big thing. The Niners defense is pretty good. It's not bad. Yeah, I think they keep it close. I think the Rams should win, definitely. But I'm going to take the points here with San Francisco. I don't think the Rams can get swept by the 49ers this year. So I'll take the Rams to win 24-20 over the Niners. Oh, baby. The Kansas City Chiefs travel to Tampa Bay to face Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Now, this game is not in prime time. That's a big thing because Tom Brady's bedtime is on prime time, so he doesn't show up in prime time. But this game, as 4:15 start on the East Coast. Mahomes, Magic versus the Raiders. Everybody was talking about it. But what people were not talking about was the fact that the Chiefs yet again got outplayed by a not very good team. Okay? That's what happened again. The Raiders are a playoff team, but not an elite team. The Bucs seem to be a playoff team, but not an elite team either. At least what we've seen versus good teams. They beat the Packers, they beat the Raiders, but they lost to the Rams, they lost to the Saints twice. So, and the problem with the Bucs has been, this is the thing with the Bucs that makes it impossible to pick their games. Because they are legitimately as talented, if not more talented than the Chiefs are. But their coaching staff, specifically offensively, is incompetent. So, because of the incompetency of the coaching staff of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which I shouldn't have said, but you know, it's a it's a term. I am gonna take the Chiefs to win, but like it's gonna be a good game. I don't know what the score is gonna be though. That's the tough part. Like, is it gonna be close? Or is it going to be a game where that Chiefs, like it's close for a while and then the Chiefs kind of like break away? Is it going to be a Bucs upset? Like, I could see a lot of outcomes here. Yeah, I legitimately could see all outcomes in this game, which is weird. You don't usually see that in games with two pretty good teams. But I could see the Bucs winning. I could see the Chiefs winning. I could see the Chiefs blowing the Bucs out. I don't think I can see the Bucs blowing the Chiefs out. That would take a lot. But a lot of outcomes that could happen in this game. I think Brady plays really well. Really well. I think he bounces back in this game. He typically does after a bad game and after a loss. I think he throws 3 or 4 touchdowns. But on the flip side, I think Mahomes throws 3 or 4 touchdowns. Because what I've seen with the Bucs defense is they're really good up front. They're really good at pressuring and stopping the run. Extraordinary versus the run. But versus the pass, sometimes their game plan doesn't really make sense to me. Sometimes Bowles takes a little too long to adjust. And if the Chiefs are able to come out and really rip down the field and score, it's going to be tough for the Bucs. I do think Brady finds the deep ball this week. I think this is my bold prediction. Antonio Brown is a 40-plus yard touchdown in this game. That's my prediction. Could be Mike Evans, but I'm going to go with Antonio Brown. I think they're going to hit a deep ball versus the Chiefs. We've seen the Raiders really attack the Chiefs down the field. And I think Brady and Arians, being that is what Arians likes to do, they're going to find a way to do it. Like, this Chiefs defense is not good at defending deep pass, and it's not really good versus the run. So in a way, it kind of allows the Bucs to play how they've been playing when they are winning. So it's not a good matchup for the Chiefs in that sense. The problem with the Bucs has been when they've had to adjust out of their comfort zone. When the Bucs have lost, they've played teams that are bad matchups for them, and they haven't been able to, from a coaching perspective, not players, coaching perspective, change the game plan, change what they're doing from week to week, and win, right? So that's not the Chiefs. Like, I don't even know if Chris Jones is going to be playing. So the Bucs will keep this close. I think it will be a close game. I can't take them, though, because I can't take this coaching staff versus Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy and Spagnuolo, who's in the past done some things versus Brady where in Super Bowls and such where it's been successful. So he'll have at least an idea what to do versus Brady, not so much the players around Brady, which is the problem, but they might make 1 or 2 plays on defense that are the difference instead of the Bucs, stopping Mahomes. I just don't know. I thought the Bucs secondary would be playing better than they are. They've disappointed me a little bit this season, and their pressure hasn't been consistent enough, in my opinion. I'm really intrigued to see what Bowles does in this game. Does he become more aggressive? Does he go with a 4-man rush and play coverage a lot? Does he force Mahomes to take the short throw, which Mahomes has had to do in a lot of games this year, and just steadily move down the field and hope to force field goals? Like, what does he do on that side? That's the chess match to me. Bowles versus Reid. I think that's a chess match. On the other side, it's pretty even in terms of coaching, in my opinion. But Brady should be, the talent of the Bucs should be able to just shred the Chiefs because the Chiefs don't have the players to match up like the Rams did. So I'll take the Chiefs to win. I'll take the Bucs plus 3.5 because this game could be a field goal game. I could see the Bucs pulling it off. So I'll take the 3.5. But this should be a really good game. I'd advise not to bet on this game because I think this is going to be a game that is going to be a little wild. So, and just fun in general. And you won't want to bet on the game on either side because it will take away the fun of the game. So I'll take the Chiefs to win based on their coaching edge over Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay. But this is a big game for Tampa. And because of that, I wouldn't be surprised if they did win. All right. We have the Chicago Bears at the Green Bay Packers. Packers are minus 9 points in this game. I am taking the Packers to win. I'm going to keep this simple. It's Aaron Rodgers versus Nick Foles. Okay, that is a mismatch and a half. I think Rodgers will do enough. Okay, here's the thing. To beat the Bears, you only need to score 13 points. I think Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and Aaron Jones will be able to do that in this game. All right? They will be. So, because of that, I'll take the Packers. Now, with the 9 points, it's interesting because the Bears defense, they're going to make this one interesting because they're a very good defense. And they pressure quarterbacks. They stop the run well. I think Rodgers will have a tough time. But ultimately, I don't know if the Bears can score enough points. So I'm not going to sweat it out. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears covered. But I'm done, okay? I'm done with the Bears, with these covers, okay? Because every time I do it, whether I was right or I was wrong with the Bears, it's like legitimately I'm tearing my hair out watching their offense. So I'm done with it, all right? I'm taking the Packers both ways. I don't care if I lose because, hey, I don't want to be watching Nick Foles try to get me into this game on the backdoor cover. I just don't. I'm sorry. I don't want it, all right? I'm good. Packers. Rodgers off a loss. The Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know when this game's happening. I think it's happening on Sunday. It's not happening on Thursday for sure. I am taking the Steelers, though. I'm not sure what the spread is going to be. I'm taking the Steelers. The Ravens are beat up on both sides of the ball. Again, I've said this week after week after week. Calais Campbell, Brandon Williams are the biggest difference makers that are not there, that are causing them to lose these games. They have Calais Campbell and Brandon Williams. They beat the New England Patriots, and they beat the Tennessee Titans, and we're not talking about them sucking. So their focus is they need to pick up enough wins to get the playoffs and be healthy. Because if they do that, they'll be one of the teams in the mix, in my opinion. Their offense has struggled, but they actually ran really well and effectively versus the Steelers, who have the best run defense in the NFL, according to statistics. So I just think the Steelers are better. I understand the Ravens. They need to, win this game because playoffs, sweep and a rivalry. It's always tough. I won't be betting on this game because this is a rivalry game. This is way too competitive each and every time they play for me to determine who's going to win. But I like the Steelers because those guys on defense not being there is a big loss. And then on offense, all the COVID situation is hurting them. Lamar is not playing well. The Ravens' offense is not playing well. The Steelers' defensive line will win the matchup up front, which will put more pressure on Lamar to make plays with his arm. And it's just not going to happen. I'll take the Steelers to win. I'm not sure what the number is, but probably also take them to cover. We'll see. Last game is the Seattle Seahawks at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles, what's the spread here? I guess I didn't change it. 6. Okay, so Seattle -6. My bet on the graphic. So Seahawks are -6. Eagles, this feels like a fishy line to me. I don't know why it's only 6. Maybe because Seattle doesn't cover versus anybody. Like you could put out a lineup of college football players and they still wouldn't cover. Seattle's way better, though. And Seattle is undefeated, I believe, versus this Eagles team. I think Russell Wilson is like 5-0 versus the Eagles. And Doug Peterson specifically. They even beat them in the Super Bowl year. So, I'll take Seattle to win. In terms of the 6 points, man, that is really close. I think that's going to be really on the edge. But I don't want to trust Philly. I can't trust Carson Wentz. I thought Seattle's defense actually played better last week. I do think they did. And, if they could get 1 or 2 turnovers, that would swing the game to being where the Seahawks can cover. So that's my guess because Carson Wentz gives the football to the other team. So the Eagles will not stop Russell Wilson very much. Now, the Eagles' defensive line, while it is good, it will have its moments of getting pressure on Wilson and forcing, a 3-and-out or a punt. But I don't really see Wilson turning the ball over much. So the difference in this game to me will be Wilson, big plays, of course, with Metcalf. But secondly, the quarterback difference in terms of decision making. The reason the Eagles will not win this game is because Carson Wentz will lose the game. It's that simple. It's what's happened the last 4 weeks in a row. That's what's going to happen. All right? You heard it here first. Wilson may not even win this game, but Wentz will lose it. So either way you look at it, Seahawks will win. I'll also take them to cover because I don't want to sweat this out. I'm good. I mean, they couldn't even cover versus the Cleveland freaking Browns. So I'm not going to pick them to cover versus Seattle Seahawks. Those are my picks for week number 12 of this 2020 NFL season. If you enjoyed, Gronk spike that like button. Show your support for this video, for this channel, and for this weekly NFL pick series. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's get to the comments real quick. I want to go eat, though, so I'm only going to be here for 5 to 10 minutes. Guys, get your comments in right now. Get those comments in. Nicholas is in the chat. Mr. Singh is in the chat. Do you know that Brady threw 2 forward passes in a play? Yes, I saw it. Nicholas, what's up, man? Justin says you said that like Seattle is clearly better team than the Browns. I think Seattle would beat the Browns. People think I hate the Browns. I don't know if you guys watch the Browns play. The Browns aren't very good. I mean, I know their record is good, but like, I think Seattle would beat the Browns, though. Hey, thank you, Mr. Walls. I like to watch NFL, says Seahawks are better than the Browns, though. Connor says, Mitch, some notable takes. Herbert is better than Allen. Incorrect. Carr is better than Allen. Incorrect. Cardinals are better than the Bills. Well, they did beat them, but it was on a Hail Mary. So, yeah. Seahawks and the Lions fan says, what's up? What's up, man? Mitch, what do you mean we can't score more than 13 points? Mitch is starting and was on pace for 38 touchdowns. Nicholas, have you watched your team play all year? Bro, it shouldn't be that hard to understand. I said this to my friend the other day. Considering the era, considering the year, considering that defense does not exist, the Chicago Bears have the worst offense I have ever seen in my life. Period. I'm not blinking. I'm not stuttering. The Chicago Bears have the worst offense. I don't know if it means it's statistically the worst or whatever, but visually, with the eye test, the Bears have the worst, I mean worst, offense I have seen. Worse than the Jets, the worst. All right, hopefully that got through. Do you think the Chargers can end up winning against the Bills somehow? Yeah, but probably not. I think they'll keep it close but lose. Thank you for loving my vids and subscribing. How do you pronounce your name? I don't want to say it wrong. I'll just say Walls. Your first name, I'm not sure. Pronounce it. Justin says, I don't trust Seattle's defense. Fair enough, but I mean, if they played the Browns, Seattle's actually good versus the run. They suck versus the pass. The Browns can't pass. They can only run. And Russell Wilson would put up probably 27 to 30 points. So that's just the way I would see that game going. I don't trust Baker versus Russell Wilson. I just don't. I mean, people think I hate Baker. It's just simple. He's not good. I mean, people are commenting that he's good. I don't see it, man. I don't see it. Noob says Cowboys or Washington tomorrow. Check my picks. Already talked about it. But I have the Cowboys winning because I want them to win, but I don't necessarily know. Elena says, do you live in Boston? No, I don't. But, yeah. Tom says, Browns are overrated. Did you take the Giants to cover since no Burrow? Yeah. Yeah, I did. Nicholas says, Mitch, you clearly haven't watched since you said our games are boring. Oh my God. Nicholas, do you watch other teams play? Are you legitimately going to come into my live comment section and tell me that the Bears games are not boring? Really? Huh? I don't consider Nick Foles missing receivers by 20 yards to be exciting, and the score being 20-10 with 18 punts. I'm sorry about that. I don't enjoy that. Who do I think is going to win Rookie of the Year? Definitely Herbert, no question. Not even close. Turtle says, actually, you're right, Nick. Sam Darnold is better than Josh Allen. Packers are better than the Niners, and I'm a Packer. Well, yeah, of course. Dylan says, do you think the Jets will win a game? Probably not. Why'd I make you mad? Gronk, spike the like button. Flacco is elite. Agreed. What was the Giants pick ATS? I missed it. Giants. Matchup, better team, are two different things. I mean, I think Seattle has... Okay, let me put it this way. Can I see Seattle going to the Super Bowl? Yes. Can I see the Browns going to the Super Bowl? No. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be, mean. This is just my opinion. Okay, you take it, you can leave it, but that's just my opinion. $153 people watching, only 54 likes. This is a disgrace to humankind, guys. Do I think anyone is going to sign Earl Thomas? Not at this point. I don't know my playoff predictions yet. Haven't happened. Who finishes last in the North? Lions or Bears? Probably the Lions, unfortunately. Damn, Sebi's calling me a clown. That's not very nice. All right, guys. Hey, thanks, Mike. Thanks for all the likes, by the way, guys. Appreciate it. I am going to go eat. I am on a podcast later in about 20 minutes. I don't know if it's live or not, but it's with my friend Mike, who works for a Pittsburgh Steelers site. We're going to talk Ravens and Steelers and about the Steelers. So if you're interested in that, I'll let you know the link. A good place to get that link would be in the Discord. So if you're a Discord member inside that Discord, I'll just post a link for you guys to watch. But if you're intrigued in that, definitely check it out. So yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Also, we got some creative video coming out probably tomorrow. Myself, Turtle, Ultra, Bus, and Durkant will be drafting our 5 teams. So every position, creating a team. We're going to do that later tonight, and I'll probably post it tomorrow. So that's going to be fun for Thanksgiving, a little treat. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Peace.